Welcome to Bitching and Moaning, the podcast where we talk shit, spill the tea, and say all the things you're definitely thinking about but shouldn't say out loud.
We're your hosts. I'm Stephanie with Patricia, and together we're your weekly dose of sass, laughs, and just the right amount of bad decisions.
From sexy stories to petty rants, nothing's off limits. So grab your wine or your drink of choice, loosen your morals, and let's get into it.
Because if we're not bitching,
we're probably moaning. Welcome to Bitching and Moaning. We are your hosts. I'm Patricia.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we are so glad you're with us today. We hope you're continuing to enjoy our podcast. And also we did something a little different this past week. And we thought we'd bring you into our lives a little bit more and share some of the things that we do outside of the podcast.
Right.
So hopefully you enjoyed our little vlog.
Yes.
And there's more to come. So make sure you're staying tuned to our social media. And today we have some wine that we want to talk about first. So why don't you tell me what you got over there?
Okay, so I brought back one from last time because it was so good.
Okay. Oh, I like those.
And because of our little outing yesterday that we had, I'm going to talk about the ones I'm going to get. So I'll save that for later.
Okay.
But I brought back the Texas Well Water wine from the Fiesta winery that I talked about that we picked up in Heiko.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, it's so good. I'm going to continue to drink it just a little bit longer. And so I brought that one back. It's real crisp and light, and I think it has a hint of cranberry with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
based
was
on
awesome.
the
Oh,
bottle.
yeah.
So good.
Well, and that's great that you are bringing one, back because we do enjoy these wines. We do enjoy drinking them, not just, for the podcast, but we enjoy drinking them after the podcast. And so it's nice that you have one that you brought back.
Yeah. So what do you have?
I have something a little different. I do have Messina Hoff, but I wanted to show that there was other drinks that Messina Hoff offers. And this particular one, you can see it's a little foamy, but it's carbonated because it is a alcohol-free sparkling wine. And it's just kind of tastes a little bit like grape juice, but it's kind of full body juice, if that makes any sense. But it's really good, and we had a lot of wine yesterday.
Yes.
So I thought I'd take a little break and also, show you that Messina Hoff does have other drinks besides that. So it's really great too. When you go there, they have like slushies and light seltzers and stuff at the place. So it's really kind of neat.
Yeah.
So.
Lots of different options.
Lots of different options. So here's to our bitching today.
So good, so good, so good.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and start with your bitching today?
My bitching. So this is going to be a tough topic for some people. Looking at current affairs and events that have just happened, I would think everyone has heard about Charlie Kirk. But if you haven't, he is a conservative activist that was speaking at a university in Utah. And he was tragically shot and eventually killed by a gunman during this rally that he was having. Very, very tragic event. So that's kind of leading into, to give you a little bit of background. So where my bitching comes into play is in my Facebook feed, I saw lots of sharing about him, and everybody was outraged at the political violence that was happening. But it started making me think back to just a few months ago when the state senators, and here I'm going to look at my little card, make sure I get their names right. Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, and then Representative John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, they were Minnesota state senators, were killed in political violence as well while they were sleeping. A gunman came in and shot them both. And so my bitching is about why is one person more, I guess, people get more outraged about one person than political violence in general. And to me, a life is a life. I don't care what side of the fence you're on, whether you're a diehard Republican or a diehard Democrat. It doesn't make any sense that we are not, as a society, outraged at both, because that's horrible. No one should be scared to speak your opinion, be in fear, and especially serve at that level, be an activist, or you want to give up your life for service to your state, your constituents, just anything at that level. I mean, it goes on both sides. That's just two instances, but we can also talk about Trump, his almost assassination.
Right.
And also there was one several years ago, Steve Scalise was a representative, and it was 2017, and he was playing baseball with a bunch of Republicans. I don't know if it was a Republican-Democrat baseball game, but somebody was mad, didn't like what he said, and showed up at a baseball game and shot him and others.
Right.
And again, why I just don't understand why we're not outraged at it at any level. No one should be scared to say their opinion, have a point of view.
Right.
You walk around the corner and there's somebody with a gun or whatever, they stab you, whatever the choice is that person uses. I just don't understand why the outrage is not the same. Right. So saw a lot of Charlie Kirk on my feed, but with Melissa and her family, I didn't see hardly anything. And I think that's what the trigger is, why the bitching is the same. It doesn't matter. They were mothers, they were fathers, they had children, aunts, uncles.
Right.
All of them had friends. They all had something they wanted to share and make a difference in the world. And somebody just decided they didn't like him and decided to kill him. It just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
It is a very tough situation. We definitely want to make sure that those who are listening and watching, we want to show 100% compassion to the family of Charlie Kirk, because losing a spouse, which I know, losing your soulmate, which it seems like that's what they were, and then losing a father of such young children who might not even remember him. They're going to look on the internet when they're older, and they are going to see all of this craziness that's on there regarding his death and his legacy. So I again, we say prayers for them, for the loss of that. My bitching is pretty similar to yours, obviously. I think that they don't show others like they have him. And in fact, that same day, there was a shooting at a school. And I think it was Colorado. And, those 3 kids, I'm not even sure if they're still alive. I know they were in critical condition. And there was very little said about that, because all of this just took over the internet and social media. And what about the parents of those kids, of the shooter, of the kids they shot, of their classmates? I mean, those are all kids themselves that will live with this for the rest of their lives too. And so I do, and I don't know what the motivation was for that shooting. At this point, it really shouldn't matter. I mean, a life is a life, and when you're starting to do these things in schools, in churches, in rallies, whatever, it's just terrible. It's awful. I might have a little bit of a harsher opinion. Some may agree, some may not agree. But what I want to bitch about is not necessarily that, but what I want to bitch about is how they are making him a martyr, because I have a hard time with that one. Again, he was a Christian, but I think that some of his ways and some of the things that he said to people were not Christian-like. And again, we are all sinners, and hopefully he had said that somewhere along his, career and his speeches. But a lot of the things that I saw were not very nice to people. His whole slogan when he went to universities was debate me. And I have been in politics since I was 18 years old. And I was a delegate for a candidate who was running for president. I also was a volunteer for several presidents and also other local political people here and in Chicago. So I know how to debate. Not everybody does.
Right.
I debated because I learned it growing up. But you bring a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid who really doesn't know much about politics anyways, or life, you know, they're still learning. They're in college to learn. They're in college to get educated, you know. And he goes to these universities and spews out all this kind of, to me, is anger, racism, hatred towards things that, you know, he might not believe in, but these other people believe in that. And so he catches these poor kids that maybe are not as educated, and I'm sure he's trying to educate them, but it's the way he goes about doing it. The delivery is very tacky, it's very brass, it's abrasive, and in, you know, some of the videos I watched, you know, he would explain something or other to a person and he would listen, but others were just like, he would let them all speak, make a list, and the next thing you know, he'd go down the entire list going, you know, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, you know, and it just like attacking them.
Yeah.
And that I don't like.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. I watched one, and it was when he was at Oxford, and I just saw his rebuttal to the different things that they brought up. And I thought if someone is trying to reach other people, whether he believes that they're totally wrong, there's a way to communicate that and be open so they're receptive to what you have to say.
Exactly.
And I think that's what's hard when, you know, I watch some of these videos. I mean, there's so many out there. It's like I saw him say hateful things as well as I saw him say more evangelical things, right? And about his faith. And so that's where I have the same kind of disconnect a little bit with him, is because a lot of the things, like you say, aren't Christ-like, how he says them. And it was like looking down on them, or I'm smarter than you or something. And maybe that's not how he was in real life. But again, social media, all of that has little snippets and pieces. So you don't always get a full picture. So, yeah,
and
I
some
agree with you.
Some of the things that I saw on social media, because, you know, we are on it quite often, especially because now we have a podcast, you know. But a lot of it was like the same aggressiveness. He was a man of God and this and this and that. Unfriend me if you don't like. It's like, if you're a Christian, why are you spewing out that same kind of anger? You should be acceptance of different views, different opinions, and okay, you know, maybe they can still be your friends. Like, let me give you a few examples. The first one is, we are Christians. We have already expressed that to you. We have had friends in our lifetime that are atheists. Very, very good people. A couple married a very long time. Children, raising their children, good kids, going to school, going to college, you know. And that is their belief. It doesn't change that I believe something different than them. Maybe I can teach them something. Maybe they can teach me something. It doesn't mean we're going to change. But sometimes maybe there's something they were raised not knowing about. So those, I believe, are the people that Jesus Christ wanted us to go out and talk to, right? And so if you're automatically saying, well, you don't agree with what I'm saying, then unfriend me. How are you a disciple of God and Jesus Christ if you are cutting people off because they don't agree with you? That's the one example I have.
I have a family member that did the same thing this week.
And so I'll let you talk on that, but it just really, I just get so upset because I saw it in so many of my friends posting. And I don't post political things online. Because I just, you know, like I said, I've been in politics a long time. That's really not my platform. If I'm going to have a debate with you, it's going to be face to face. The other quick example I wanted to make was, I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I am not a liberal. I am not a radical. I'm not in the Green Party. I listen to all the candidates. I even go watch all the candidates, you know, in different, political realms. Like, whether it's president, whether it's senators, whether it's congresspeople, whatever. I like to listen to everybody because I might hear something that, I like in somebody that I might not have thought about, And so I listen to all that. But back in a while back, I was a delegate for a presidential candidate. And at that time, this the people who were running was Obama was one of them. And so we were trying to have a black president, right? Everybody wanted a black president, the first black president. I'm just telling you what I heard in my political conversations, in the arenas that I went to. However, if you wanted to have your voice heard, we talk like this. You tell me what you think, I tell you what I think. Well, I really don't agree with that. Okay, you don't really agree with that's fine. But when I went to these conventions, people were screaming at me, yelling at me, and I would ask them, okay, well, tell me what you like about him, or tell me what his social stance are, or political, tell me what's, but it wasn't that, oh, this, no, that, it was just yelling. That is not a debate. That is just anger, and you're yelling, and I couldn't stand that. But luckily, again, I think it was a lot of people that really didn't know politics. They were trying to support their candidate respectfully. However, you got to learn how to have a conversation if you're going to talk politics.
Right. That's
my view on it. So when we come back to this and this whole Charlie Kirk thing, it's more people yelling at each other. And I'm not saying he's the only one that was yelling. People were yelling at him too. These kids were yelling at him, or others were, saying terrible things to him. I get it. I understand that. I watched all that too. But again, if you're going to put yourself out there in that realm of universities or wherever else, then you're going to have to expect what's coming to you. And educate, which I think he did in some things. I heard a lot of Bible verses, which I really enjoyed, because I'm not that savvy on all the Bible verses. I've read the Bible, I had all that stuff, but I enjoyed listening to those parts of it. It was the other things that I didn't like too. So that's a little bit about my bitching. I have some more stuff, but tell me about your family.
The family member, so I, have mentioned I come from an evangelical background, so the majority of my family is that. So, we're all friends on Facebook. I have a gazillion family members, probably more family members than I do actual friends, which is interesting because my family is very large. But there was one particular person that was made the comment that we're not the party of extremism, and started going into multiple attempts on the life of Trump and others, right? And, just went into some other rant and said, this is how I feel. And if you don't like it, unfriend me, and that's to your point where I started thinking, I'm like, you're supposed to be a Christ follower. So are you just going to, ignore all these people where you have a chance to show your witness to why you believe the way you do? And again, educate, have a conversation. But it came off very attacking in that, and very angry. And I think we've learned from our corporate days that all caps is not a good thing, right? Anything in caps usually means you're yelling or you're upset or very passionate about something, right? So to me, I'm going to miss your message if I start seeing it turn a certain way. And, I don't usually unfollow people. There have been times where their rhetoric has been so over the top, I have to think about my mental health. I know, and it's like, if that's all they're putting out there, and there's no post about family or friends or hey, I went camping or whatever it is, it takes you down a very unhealthy rabbit hole. And so
those are the people that have a lot of time on their hands.
So with the family member, I totally agree with you. It's like you're losing your point of what you're trying to communicate, because it feels like you're being attacked, and it's like, why am I gonna want to listen to you when all you're going to do is peck at me.
Right.
So yeah, so I can totally agree with all of that.
Well, I wanted to point out a few things about Mr. Kirk that I listened from his mouth when he was at universities online and on the television, and people were playing it. It's not AI because it was him, right? But I think some of the troubling things that I heard him say about black pilots were not smart enough to fly planes, which that is crazy, obviously. Yeah. But he did say this. He also talked about Michelle Obama and some of the other women in politics and government, that they were part of the affirmative action, which, okay, maybe they were. That's not a bad thing. However, he made it sound like that was the only reason they were in the positions that they were in.
Right.
And that is not true. I mean,
yes, very true.
They are educated women. They have their opinions. They have served our country in so many different ways. And I just think those type of, I don't even know what it's called, but just statements that are hurtful. Let's just say that. Statements that are hurtful against the black community, I just think that is completely wrong. We don't even know, I know this is going to be a shock, but we don't even know, like, was Jesus a dark colored person? Was he brown? Was he black? I don't know. We don't know. We just have these images of this Jesus, but they do say he was, he wasn't pale white.
Right.
So
he was he was a Jew, so he's, from countries, and again, my geography's bad, but like the Palestinians and that Arab nations, I guess is the best way to say it. He was in there. So to me, he wasn't white. I don't picture him as white,
I don't
myself.
You can come for us, but we're just throwing ideas out there.
I just think of where he was,
right?
And the way it talks in the Old Testament. I feel like he was more of a darker complected person, because he was out in the sun and walking, and there wasn't air conditioning back then. So so that's just how I view him.
The other thing I thought was really strange, and this is, I don't know if it's a bitch, but it's just kind of like, what are you talking about? So Kash Patel, who is the FBI director, I watched him on the news and online or whatever, as he was making his statements regarding the death of Mr. Kirk. And he said something at the end of his statement and speech, which I was like, I think everybody's like, what are you talking about, man? So he's Hindu. So I mean, he's not even Catholic, but okay. But he made a statement about, at the end, saying, I'll see you in Valaha. I think that's what it's called. And everybody's like, I was like, what is that? I've never even heard of that before. So apparently it is it's part of the Norse mythology.
Okay.
I know. Mind you, wasn't Mr. Kirk Christian?
He was a Christian.
And aren't Christians not supposed to believe in other gods? But apparently this was a war god of Odin's mythical hall. That is what that is. And he was saying that he would see him there when maybe when he dies. And it's seen as the dwelling place of Odin's chosen warriors in the afterlife. Okay. And just so you know, Norse mythology it's inspired by Marvel's Thor.
Oh, okay.
So everybody's like, what is he saying?
Yeah.
And then, of course, people started digging a little deeper as to why did he say that or where is that? Well, the other thing that it's associated with is white supremacists tend to co-opt terms and images of Norse mythology.
Wow. That's interesting.
So, Mr. Kirk didn't say that.
No.
He said that. But why would he say that?
Right.
It's so strange.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Anyways, I just want all people to have the same kind of acknowledgement in death. Mm-hmm. Political, if you're at a school, if you're the kid next door, you know what I mean? It's a tragedy to lose a person that you love. And it's even, I think, worse when they are like murdered on a big platform.
Yes.
Because somebody is trying to make a statement. You know, people get killed every day in the United States, all over the world. And yes, that is terrible. I'm just saying these big platforms that these people choose to do this, you know, you got our attention, right?
Right. Yeah.
You got the country, the world's attention, and it's sad. And this kid, this 22-year-old kid who has admitted to his family and his pastor that he did this is definitely probably going to be made an example of.
Right. Yeah, I think with that too, the other thing I don't understand, I'll bitch about, is how everybody wants to come out and automatically start pointing fingers without knowing the story. So there were a lot of things online about the left. The left did this. It's the horrid going to hell left people, you know.
The radical
left is a very common, you know, put it in quotes, common phrase that's used now.
And tell us what kind of family this young gentleman was raised in.
His grandmother came out and said that his family are MAGA Republicans. So
and
that
his dad
came out.
was a police officer.
His dad, was a police officer. And so she was like, I don't think we even have any Democrats in the family. And she didn't understand what happened either, why he did that. But the thing is, it's like the day it happened, we didn't even know if he had passed. And it was all about the radical left. I get so angry that when these shootings, whether it's, you know, political, a school shooting, everybody's trying to put the blame somewhere without letting officers, agents do their job to find out what was the motive behind this person.
Right.
So now all those same people that were saying it was the radical left, that none of them have come back and apologized to. It could have been their neighbor, it could have been their cousin that believes maybe they're not radical, but
I'll tell you what, I heard something.
It was
I don't know
quiet.
how true this is because it's on Fox News. I don't know. You know, everybody watches different news channels. They came out and said that this person who killed him was living with a transgender person and was having a relationship with their roommate.
I didn't see that one.
On Fox News. Now you talk about fake news. That hasn't been confirmed. I haven't heard anything else besides that, but I'm just like, again, like just like you were saying, the left, the radicals, all that, all of a sudden they want to bring it back to the LGBT community, which is so wrong until you have solid evidence. I mean, they were saying that they were talking to the roommate, but is the roommate lying? Are they telling him to lie? Are they telling her to lie? What's happening? We don't really know. So for outlets, news outlets, to be putting stuff out there until there is like substantial facts, I just think it's so detrimental to the public and to the mourning of everybody who's going, you know, his family and all that. That's just something else that they have to go, what? Why? You know? And what if it's not even true? You've now added more stress to that family's life, you know?
It was right after it happened, they detained an older man. He was a white man, and then they detained him, but I didn't see where, I think he was like up or calling attention to himself or something. And now everybody was saying he was the shooter. And it's like, that was so somebody's dad, grandpa, whatever. And now the internet is all a Twitter about, you know, ooh, you know, death to his family or whatever. It just went crazy.
Stop with that.
And it's like, he got detained and they released him, but they don't ever follow up. And this is for any media outlet, they don't usually follow up after that. So somebody's not getting the message that this person didn't do it.
Right.
And that still could put them in harm's way if they don't stay current on whatever they're watching and the facts that come out. You could have another crazy that's already stalking that older man because he still thinks, oh, I know he did it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's out of hand.
We're gonna wrap it up, but
Yeah.
let's just bring it to somewhat of a closing.
Right.
Again, we are very, very sad that this wife and these children are going through this tragic event in their lives, and we do hope that God is with them. As far as all the other things that we've been bitching about, keep in mind it's our opinions,
Right.
our views, our thoughts. Always welcome to comment and put your thoughts and suggestions on there. We hear it all.
Yeah.
We have a lot of family members, like you
Right.
said, that and friends that think the same way we do, that don't think the same way we do, but they're still our friends and family,
Right.
and we respect that.
And we have communication with
Yeah,
them. We talk
exactly.
about it and we work through it and we learn from each other.
Exactly.
The most important thing.
So thanks for listening to that bitching. We're going to turn it just a bit to our moaning.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you talk about moaning real quick. We're going to wrap it up. We only have a few more minutes. So tell me about your moaning this week.
I have to put my wine glass up there. So I have my little book here from our People's Choice Awards from our Grapevine event that we went to yesterday. So part of the event is you go through like an hour and a half of wine tasting, many vendors, locals, some a little bit further away, but pretty much in Texas. And so you go and you do little tastings and you pick out your favorites and then you can vote. So I have my two favorites. I had four, but I narrowed it down to two.
Okay.
So I'll give you the runner-up.
Okay.
So the runner-up is from the Los Pinos, did I say it right? Ranch Vineyards out of Pittsburgh, Texas. The winemaker is Alicia Whitby.
All right.
And she has, they call it the Pinos Colada, but it tastes like a pina colada.
Yes, very
It says
tropical.
it's a white and it's sweet.
Mm.
Oh,
I know. We were moaning yesterday for sure on
that
that.
one was so good. That
was
Oh,
good.
that would be a great wine on a beach in a hammock under a little hut thing and just So
good.
that was my runner up, and then I have to flip over here. The winner for me was from the Silver Dollar Winery out of Bedford, Texas.
Ooh.
And the winemakers are Melanie and Richard Bowen, so a husband and wife.
Nice.
And it is called the Boot Scootin' Boogie Chocolate.
Oh, that was the best.
And it
that was so good.
it's a red, of course, and it's sweet again. My sweet wines. That chocolate, you didn't even have to have the glass anywhere near your nose, and it's whoosh, and then you
good.
tasted it. Oh,
I know.
it was just like liquid chocolate.
It
going
was
down.
good.
Oh, so yummy. So y'all definitely have to try that. I think the best time it would be is if you have a fire pit in the fall and it's a little warm and got your chocolate and maybe even doing s'mores with extra
s'mores.
chocolate.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so that Boot Scootin' Boogie Chocolate from the Silver
We'll make
Dollar
sure
Winery.
to put it up here so you guys can see it.
Those are the next two on my list, but I had to talk about them now because I know, and I was like, I couldn't remember the winery yesterday, but those were the wineries, and yes, those
Awesome.
to die for, so good.
I love it.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Mine, of course, was Messina Hoff.
Yes.
The angel. They had the angel there, which we had.
Yeah.
We've already presented here, and that, of course, is my favorite.
Right.
I did enjoy the chocolate quite a bit.
Yeah.
It very, very sweet, but very good. And so, we had a great time, and we were moaning quite a bit after all the wine because it was so good. But
what was the favorite name that we saw? The Housewives.
Housewives Rebellion.
Yes, that
was
one
fun.
was the winner of the cutest little winery.
Yes.
Yeah, so
that was cute. It was a bunch of housewives dressed up in like 50s costumes and
Very cute.
had some pretty good wine. It was pretty good. Yeah. So
that's the winner of the winery dress up contest, in my opinion. So, but yeah, a lot of fun.
right. Well, thank you again for joining us. We always love chatting.
Yes.
And we will see you next week.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye, y'all.